This episode is brought to you by the shows of the You Run Podcast Network, all available at yourunpodcast.com. Whether it's true crime or film reviews, even TV series deep dives, the You Run Podcast Network has you covered. So go and check out yourunpodcast.com today. Hey Mark.
Hey.
What do you call masturbation in the summer?
I don't know. What do you call masturbation in the summer?
Heat stroke.
You want to die tonight?
The dad jokes he tells sets the scene. I hang on every word lost in the screen. Your passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Marc's overblown roundups. You run podcasts for a movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after I fled.
Hello, welcome to the You Run Podcast Horror Movie Review. My name is Scott.
My name is Mark.
And we are an interactive horror movie review podcast where you get to pick the movies. I have issues with the entire setup of our show this week.
Don't be that guy this week, because I aren't in the mood for it, I'll be honest with you.
Well, you can have your tantrum later. You can get in touch with the show. You can send us an email, yourunpodcast@gmail.com, or you can simply contact us through Instagram. We are at yourunpodcast. While you're there, go and follow Mark, Reviews from the Crypt, where every now and then he reviews a horror movie when he can be bothered or when he remembers.
At least once a 6 months.
When was the last one you done? Like, I looked the other day, I was like, shit, it's been ages.
No, I did In a Violent Nature probably about a month ago. The thing is, I watch a lot of stuff. So I watch movies all the time. People think that I just don't, but I do. I watch a lot of stuff. And then I process all the notes and things like that. I'm like, right, that's the format for that review. But then I'll watch something else, then I'll process the notes for that review. And then I'll have a backlog. I think I've got a backlog of 60 notes that I need to transfer into reviews of movies that I need to put out onto my page. But man, I have kids now. Do you know what I mean? I have life now. I have kids and I have work, and it's hard. It was great when I was doing it when Margot was just a baby, because I could just sit with her and then type up shit. But now she's at an age whereas immediately I go for my phone, she's like, Daddy, play with me. Daddy, play with me. I'm like, I don't want to be one of those dads who's staring at his phone typing. And my wife does the same thing. She's like, you're always on your phone. It's like, I'm trying to write. Leave me alone. So maybe if I set up in a notepad or a computer where it makes it look more official, then maybe I might get away with it a bit more. But yeah, man, I'm trying. I really am trying. It's just busy. Life's busy, man.
But if you do like Mark's content, go to VHS from the Crypt, because he posts there daily, because he sneaks into his office, takes a couple of VHSs down, takes some really cool photos, and he does that.
Yeah, that's easy. That is easy work for me, that account. An expensive hobby account, but it's easy.
Yeah, very expensive hobby. Your hobby's ridiculous. Some of the prices of video. I was going to ask you, we reviewed Dogma a couple of weeks back now. How much was your Dogma VHS? Because it blew my mind when I looked the other day.
I paid £1.50 for that. That was perfect timing. I didn't own a copy of that, and I knew we had it coming up in 2 weeks. But I'm on a lot of Facebook groups where people post sellers oh yeah, you can buy these. These are what I've got for sale, £1 each or £2 each, or some of them go for £80 each. But Dogma was one that popped up in the group, and this guy was like, oh, £1.50 plus postage. I was like, well, I've got to review it next week anyway. I'm going to enjoy watching it on my VHS player more than I will downloading it off Amazon. Sure, I'll take a punt. So I got that for £1.50.
They're 80 odd quid on eBay plus.
It's insane. It is insane. It's more about knowing where to buy them and when to buy them. Beetlejuice 2 is coming out at the moment. So Beetlejuice is usually around a £10-12 tape. But because Beetlejuice 2 is coming out, that has skyrocketed to 50, 60. I've even seen it going for £90 at the moment, people buying it, purely just because the sequel's coming out. So it's about timing when you're collecting VHS. It's not just deep diving. I have a lot of collections that I'm slowly building. So I've got 90%. I've got all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but One of them is a retail tape, whereas I'm an ex rental tape, which is like the higher end, if you will, of a collector.
You're a snob. You're a VHS
I'm a snob.
Why am I not
I'm a VHS
surprised?
snob, and it's not because I'm a snob. It's more because I like the uniformity on the shelf. So, like big box X rentals that you'd get in Blockbuster, they come in a bigger case. So I don't like to see all my tapes in different sizes on my shelf. I like them all to be big box right the way across. So I'm missing New Nightmare on X rental. But again, like I'm not going to go out there and buy it because it's like a 60 quid tape. But I know I will stumble across it for the right price at the right time. So it's just about biding your time and not getting too greedy, which is one of the things I fell into very early on when I was collecting, and like getting like sought after tapes that I needed, like Scream and things like that. Like I paid massively over the odds for the original Scream movie, when in hindsight now I've seen it pop up for a lot cheaper, and if I'd have just waited, I would have got a better price for it.
Yeah, the downsides of collecting, but also if there is a new movie coming and they're worth a lot more, now is a good time to get rid of this week's movie.
I have this one.
Yeah, time to sell. If you've never listened or watched this show before, we'll give you a synopsis of the movie. We'll tell you what we like, what we didn't like. We've got some fun games from time to time. Today we have a game all themed around this movie. We give you some facts, we give you roundup scores, we let you get your day. Since we've changed to new format, we have not had a guest. And there was a reason for that. So we changed the new format. It's now we just talk wherever. And we were not sure how a guest would fit into that, like how a third person in an uncontrolled conversation would work. But that all changed when I was talking to our guest today. So our guest today is going to come in and I hate to say it, he's going to have to act as a mediator between the two of us. This is a guy who's got so much talent. It blows my mind. A makeup and visual effects artist that honestly, the stuff that he showcases across his Twitter and his Instagram is fucking phenomenal. We've showcased some of his works here when we done 3-word review. We shared his Pinhead, but like it's so fucking cool.
Yeah, that's
so
just a scratch of the surface of the stuff that this guy does. It really is.
Yeah, it gives me great pleasure to introduce someone who can bring things to life in a way that I could only dream of, and that's Alex from AMP FX Studios. Hi, Alex.
Hello, fellas. Hey,
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for that. That's amazing to hear. Thank you so much. That's sweet of you to say.
It's true. Like the stuff you do, like one I'm going to highlight because I think it's fucking awesome is the Walking Dead Worlds Beyond makeup you've done. Like that just blew my mind how good that is.
Yeah, big highlight for me when I was looking on your Instagram was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired variations you've done.
Yeah,
those were things like that.
Yeah, those were some just some old masks that I found lying around. I was working at Six Flags, which is a theme park over here, and they were just laying around for I don't know how many years, but they were just trashed. You know what I mean? And so I just repainted them, repaired them. And a lot of the kids like wore them out in the park for Fright Fest, which is like that annual haunted house thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, those were just repaints. I don't actually know who made those masks, but I brought them back to life because they were literally trashed. So
yeah. I mean, it's incredible work, man. They look phenomenal. They really do.
Thank you.
And if anyone's looking for a visual effects artist, Alex is your man.
Let me correct you. Makeup effects artist. I don't do any visual effects.
You're
visual
a practical guy. I like it.
Computer guy and stuff like that. Which I don't. I'm gonna get it right in front of this too. Like I'm not one of those makeup artists that hates CGI. You know what I mean? Like I think CGI is very much needed in every movie because it's in almost every shot of every movie. But and just like makeup effects artists, there's good CGI artists and there's bad ones. You know what I mean? There's ones that have been doing it for years and there's some that are just starting out. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm a makeup effects artist. I don't know my way around a computer. So,
no. And that's
No,
probably your blessing, mate, because your practical effects work is outstanding. It really is.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it really is. We're thrilled to have you here. We're going to be doing a game later, which is called We Know What You Did Last Summer. Where you're going to go head to head with Mark, which is going to end up with
Fuck.
Mark having some sort of tantrum because he doesn't pay enough attention to this show, whereas you probably know more than he does, which will be hilarious. We're also going to be discussing a movie. Today we look at Mark, before I start this synopsis, you must stay quiet until the synopsis is over.
I will try my best.
Okay. Today we look at a summer slasher from the 90s that I hate with an unbridled rage that cannot be contained. When I revealed this to Mark, I called this a piss poor rip-off of Scream. So Mark quite proudly announced that this is a novel. It's an adaptation of a novel. So I went and bought myself a digital copy of the book and crammed that fucking book in this week. I'm going to save that for fun facts. Anyway,
I didn't expect you to do the research. I'll be honest with you. When I came at you with that defense, I didn't expect you to do the research.
I'm not finished. Stop. Anyway, this movie tells the story of a bunch of teens who mercilessly mow down a man and leave him to dead, only for him to resurface a year later as the world's worst pen pal. Cheesy acting, cheesy kills, arguably the most generic bullshit script, and a killer from slasher history who will always be forgotten. Today we are looking at Please Let Us Be As Big as Scream. Please, 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 please. Also known as I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Dude, come on.
I'm going to stop you before you go any further. I'm going to say, Alex, I'm going to let you kick us off with this. Give us your initial thoughts on, let's start with The Fisherman. I think he's a good place to begin.
Good old Ben Willis, huh?
Yeah, boy.
Personally, if I was writing this movie, he would have just straight up been some sort of entity from the ocean, right? A fisherman. So that scene when they're at the beginning and Ray is like telling them the story of the hook man or whatever, and they're all like, no, you got it wrong. It's this way. It's this way. That should have just straight up been, hey, this is the story of Ben Willis. And they hit Ben Willis, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think instead of making it a whodunit type of situation, and if you just made Ben Willis this entity that was like an urban legend from their town that they all knew already, I think that would have made it so much better.
See, the thing is, Alex, I thought you were going to be coming on this episode in my defense, but now you've just introduced Aquaman to the fucking I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise, and I'm already pissed off.
Become a zombie like later in the other sequels. Isn't he
No,
like
we don't. We don't
Dino?
talk about that sequel.
Oh, see. No, I think if he was just a ghost, right, then, you know, him teleporting later wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think the story of the character actually has a lot of substance. I mean, the whodunit angle, the red herrings that come throughout is actually really engaging, and it makes a lot of sense. And the whole idea behind the killer is probably more I don't know what's the word to say. It's more authenticated than probably some of the slasher killers we got throughout the 90s. At least he has a purpose and a reason behind him doing what he's doing.
Yeah, he definitely has a backstory.
Yeah, I'll take that on board. And like, I don't necessarily have an issue with Ben Willis and his character arc. My issue is just like, where was Alex when they designed this guy and they put him in a giant Mac and a giant hat and gave him fucking Captain Hook's hook? Like, where was the makeup effects artist when this happened? Was there not someone in the practical effects department who went, excuse me, but that doesn't look very good. You're trying to create a slasher to rival the likes of Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and you've come up with a fisherman hat. You've made a mistake. Like, where was
but he's a fisherman. He's a fisherman, and he's grounded in reality. He's not trying to be Freddy Krueger wearing a Halloween costume. He's a grounded in reality killer. Like, what do you expect?
Well, let's not argue too much about Ben Willis. Let's talk about some of the cast.
I'm Buffy, the vampire slayer, and you are?
I like her. I don't like Sarah Michelle Gellar in general, but I think her kill and her death in this movie is one of the best in slasher history. In my defense, in her defense, that scene for her, like the whole movie itself is a 90-minute movie, but her battle with the fisherman is at least 15 minutes long, and I think it's probably one of the most engaging segments of the movie. And just as you think she's about to escape, she doesn't. And I think that scene, I applaud this movie unconditionally just for that scene alone. I think when people talk about slashers in the 90s in terms of kills, this is one that should be the high end of the list for most people, regardless of what you actually feel about this movie overall. Her death in this movie is one of the greatest executions in slasher movies, I think.
Yeah.
The tumbleweeds are killing me, guys. Seriously.
Alex, I'm going to let you take. I know you're a Sarah Michelle Gellar fan. I know you're a Buffy fan.
Yeah,
Where are you with this?
I'm going to agree that her chase scene is the best part of this whole movie. Like, that is the most engaging, the scariest. She's just a great actress. I love Sarah Michelle Gellar. I grew up with Sarah Michelle Gellar. I'm a huge Buffy fan. I kind of like the movie. I don't, whatever. I'm more of a fan of the show. But no, see that scene right there, like when she finally gets there, right? She gets to the parade thing, and she stops for some fucking reason, and she turns around. The whole teleporting thing where Ben just appears behind her. That I'm fine with that. I can get behind that. My one thing though is I would have just changed the parade from going by, because you already had a fucking parade earlier in the day. And like, I live in one of these kind of towns, not a seaside town, but a small American town where like we don't have parades all day, every day for 4th of July. We just have the one and it's done, right? I would have changed to where the crowd, she's right there at the crowd, but it's the people, the reason they don't see it is because they're looking up at the fireworks, right? Like that would have just made it so much more like, oh my God, she's right there, but they're not looking because they're looking up at the fireworks. That's just a little tweak and a nitpick, right? 30 years later.
No, but again, that's why we're here. We're trying to make this movie better, if you can do that, because it is one of the greatest movies of all time. But I get what you're saying. They do it well in Trick or Treat. I think Trick or Treat uses a good example of the parade thing. Is it the vampire segment? They sort of mimic the I Know What You Did Last Summer alleyway kill. And she runs out into the parade, and because he's in fancy dress, he wipes her out in the midst of the crowd. I feel like that's a very big homage to this kill sequence alone, which showcases why this is a very cool moment in this movie.
Yeah, and on paper, like casting-wise for this, you've got such a good cast. You've got Sarah Michelle Gellar, you've got Jennifer Love Huge Tits, you've got Freddie Prinze Jr. You've got
no, he's the weakest link of the group, man. This dude in this movie, seriously.
The weakest link is the jock guy who was later in Cruel Intentions, like him, where he goes. I like him,
Ryan Felipe.
Yeah, when he goes in and he goes after the guy, like when it's been like they've run over the guy, and like that whole segment where they're like, oh, it's manslaughter, like. That I was just like, at that point I'm like, oh, I'm out, I'm so out, just call the police and this problem goes away. But when they go back and like they've got the first note and he goes into Leonard from the Big Bang Theory and tries to rough him up, I'm like, oh, fucking Leonard would kick the shit out of you. Who do you think you are?
Nah, I don't think so, man. Ryan Felipe is cool, man. He's cool in this movie. There was a film I watched with him in when I was younger. I haven't seen it. I remember it came out in the cinema when I was like 12, and it was like one of those thriller type movies I went to see with like a group of friends, and we was only just old enough to go and see it. I think it was called like Antiviral or something like that. I need to go back and watch it. Anyone who's seen Antiviral, let me know. But he was fantastic in that. antivirus. Oh, so someone else has actually seen it. It was like this big, like, Microsoft company, a conspiracy theory film. It was really cool.
No, man, for Ryan Felipe, I guess he played the part well. You know what I mean? Like being just a dick, right?
Yeah,
like,
and
that's the way they wrote him. He did it well.
And I'll be honest, it's a knack to play a dick. Like, there's so many movies I've seen where the guy who's meant to be a dick, you actually kind of go, yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like, yeah, fuck these guys. You do what you do, you. But in this, like the bit where Ryan Felipe is like, right, I've dealt with it. Fuck you guys. Have a nice life. I'm like, oh, I don't like you, and I want you to die. And I've got a confession. This is the first movie since the show began I didn't finish.
What? In that case, sign yourself off, because you have no grounds here to pass judgment. If you haven't even watched the film itself, then you have no place at this table.
I have watched the film. I've watched the film multiple times in my life, but on this rewatch, I tell you where I got to. I got to just after this, where they go into the whole fucking Scooby-Doo murder mystery, where Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt go on their escapades and go and visit Tilda Swinton in her house. And I'm like, fuck me, we're 50 minutes in and nothing has happened. Fuck this movie. I turned it off and I went back to watching Yellowstone.
Mate, I get what you're saying, but of all the movies we have covered in the entire history of this show, this is one movie that is, regardless of whether you love it or whether you hate it, it's such an easy watch. It is such an easy watch movie. You don't spend time sitting there thinking, oh, this is a slog, because it's just a 90s fun slasher.
But is it? Because I like that when I got to that bit, I'm sat there going, oh, please, somebody die, something happened, please move it on. Like, I was broken, so broken that I went back to watching.
Go on, Alex, back me up here. Don't listen to him.
Well, here's my one thing. At this point, we've killed one person, right? We've killed David from Roseanne, because that's what he was at this point. He wasn't Leonard yet, right? So we've killed.
Oh yeah,
David
I forgot he was in Roseanne.
Yeah. Why did he kill him?
Red herring.
I guess. But like, that's the one kill, which was fine. It looked good. The hook up underneath the mouth, that looked pretty cool. That was a really cool stunt of like pulling somebody across a thing. I could just see myself on set sitting there watching that over and over again, being like, you know what I mean? Like, just having to sit there. I bet they sat there and did that for, the whole day, just trying to do that, which is cool.
They do it better in a second.
Yeah, when he pulls him up the little shaft thing or whatever, isn't it kind of the same thing?
Yeah.
It goes to the neck.
Tyrese Gibson, when they get him in that one, they do it miles better.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that one. Yeah, no, that was a cool stunt. But yeah, at this point, we only killed one person, so
and we're 58 minutes in.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, all right, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, when he ran over Ryan Felipe, I wish he would have killed him right then and there. That would have raised his stakes so much higher, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, he killed him. He broke his arm. Like, here's the thing too, right? He's a college quarterback, right? So let's say he goes to like an SEC school, right? I want to see the movie about the fans getting pissed off about him getting murdered, right? Like, them going after Ben Willis, because I don't know if, like, SEC fans over here, dude, are rabid. They're crazy. Like, the redneck insane. That would have been a good movie.
I mean, I will give
no.
you guys that there is a lot about the first sort of segment that is bloaty, and then in terms of being a slasher and in terms of its kills and overall execution, you get Sarah Michelle's hair getting cut. Yes, it's very weak. You get Ryan Felipe pretending to get run over by a car. Yes, it's very weak. And then, as they even establish in the movie, Freddie Prinze Jr. gets a letter. It's all very, very basic up until that point. There is a lot of cat and mouse and a who's done it. And I don't feel like, given how strong the character of Ben Willis is, the torment level that he does throughout up until the closing act justifies his character enough. Like, even when you talk about Halloween and you talk about Michael Myers and how he likes to kill people and put them in placements and set up booby traps and things like that, I feel like they were trying to incorporate that element a little bit, but they almost did it in such a childlike, foolish manner by cutting Sarah Michelle Gellar's hair. It's like you spent 25 minutes, 30 minutes sat in her wardrobe waiting for her to go to sleep just to cut her hair.
Yeah,
it's pointless, and I agree with you guys on that. That is a very, very pointless element to the movie. Why am I digging myself such a hole?
I am going to praise one element of this, and when I watched it first time, I loved it. I actually went and found that scene to watch that scene because I love that scene. But it's been ruined for me, and Scary Movie ruined it, and it's this
What
scene.
are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Man, Scary Movie ruined a lot of movies from the 90s, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Also, I have another question. How did he get that body out of the trunk of the car with all the crabs on that? And then cleaned it, right? Like went in there with the shop vac and just cleaned it. See,
Full valid.
that's what I'm saying. If he was a ghost, right? Then you just chalk it up to, oh, he's a ghost. But no, this is a real life guy walking around these things, right? So that's why it's funny to me. You know what I mean? Like it's comical. This is like, it's like Dawson's Creek made a slasher movie. I'm pretty sure Sarah Michelle Gellar even says, "Take me to Dawson's Creek," and within like her second or third line in dialogue in this movie.
Yes, she does.
Right?
And the thing is, when you watch movies like Scary Movie, for instance, you can understand how easily they found the punchlines within movies like this. You know, like when you're watching it and you're like, oh yeah, of course. You see him running behind curtains and things like that. It's like, yeah, you get it. You get how easy it is to pull apart movies like that. I think for me, it's just growing up in that 90s era and watching movies like this when I shouldn't have been watching movies like this. The nostalgia level is so high for me that I kind of just blank over all of those plot holes and misdirections, if you will.
Do you know, you've just made me feel so old because I watched this in the cinema.
Yeah, you are old. Own it. You're old. You're very old. Your opinion's annoying me about this movie because I love it so much.
How old were you when you saw this for the first time?
When I thought
17, nearly 18 when I watched this.
Okay.
What year did this movie come out?
97.
97.
97. Right. So I would have been 8 years old when this movie came out, guys.
I was 10. So.
Oh, right. So we're a similar age. So it's just you, Scott, who needs a wheelchair.
Yeah.
But still.
I don't have any sound bites to emphasize how old I am, but I feel very old. Right. I feel like I'm babysitting now. Like
in post-production, just put the old man from Family Guy in, who does a whistling noise, just to suit your character down to a T.
Thanks.
So like you were 8 when this came out, right? So like, when did you see it first? Was it a few years later after it had come out, or?
I remember seeing it on video. I remember like a neighbor or something like that having it on video, and me being way too young. And it was one of like those hot summer days where you pull the curtains closed and darken the room off. It's like, oh, do you want to watch this movie? And I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to watch this movie. And then the entire time I was like, I do not want to watch this movie.
Yeah, see, okay, so a little bit of backstory about so my brother worked at a movie theater and stuff like that. So I grew up, some of my first memories are like seeing movies in theaters and stuff, right? Well, when Blockbuster made the jump from DVD to VHS, or from VHS to DVD, sorry.
R.I.P. Blockbuster.
They just straight up threw out all of the VHSs. They put them in a garbage bag and threw them in the dumpster out back. Well, my brother had a friend who worked there, and they just went there at the end of the night and just went through the dumpster and came home with thousands of VHSs. So like, wow. By the time I'd
be alive,
right? Like, so going through them, it was literally like just pulling out just whatever, right? Like it was just randomness. And like, so I had by this point had seen so many horror movies and been scared by so many horror movies that were just way more extreme than this one. that even as a kid, I was like, okay, you know what I mean? Like I watched it, and like, okay, but you know, I don't hate this movie, right? I'm just like I said, I'm right in the middle on it. You know what I mean?
You're a
Yeah,
mediator. That's what you are.
I think, Mark, like, what is it about that? Because I don't get it. Like, I've watched this numerous times. Every time I've watched it, I fucking hated it. This time I turned it off. What is it, Mark, that makes this so special? Because I cannot see it. The cast on paper are fabulous. The story on paper is fabulous. When you put it all together, I just go, ugh.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And like, if I was to stand from a critical point and be like, right, okay, let's break this movie down, it's not the best. But I think for me, the biggest selling point of it is a nostalgia based perspective. You know, like, it's got to be a nostalgia based perspective. And I think not just that, like, as horror fans, we consume so much dark media constantly. When you watch a movie like this, it's just easy viewing. You know what I mean? It's like that putting on the brakes moment from your regular day-to-day digestion of violence and gore,
Yeah.
and just watching something that doesn't necessarily hurt your eyes for a brief moment in time. You know, like I find myself when I'm watching it more than anything reliving the memories. So again, the nostalgia thing. But I think just because it is such a by the numbers slasher, and it's a Kevin Williams movie, so it's, let's be honest, it is by the numbers at this point by the time it came out. I just think it's it's easily digestible for anybody, whether you're a young viewer, whether you're an older viewer, whether you're somebody who is very much into dark side of horror, regardless of what genre it is. I think just putting something like this on, it serves a purpose without requiring too much from you emotionally. And I think for me, that's why I love this movie as much as I do, is because it is just one of those where I can just put it on in the background and enjoy segments. I can tune in and out of it, and every time, regardless of how many times I watch it, I never get bored by it, you know?
Yeah. Alex, I want you to talk about like the end of this, how this movie ends. Are you satisfied when this movie finishes? Are you like, yeah, that's the ending I wanted? No.
I wanted Ben Willis to jump up out of that water with a missing hand, stumpy hand, and I wanted like some more fighting around. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's just very underwhelming with the whole, he gets caught in the net and then he gets sucked up, or he gets, pulled up in, and then the arm just chops off. Hand looks great, by the way, when they pull it up, but like,
It does.
I just wanted one more jump scare, more. I don't know. I wanted more. You know what I mean?
Do we not get a jump scare at the end of this one like we do in the second?
No, we get a letter delivered at the end of this one, don't we?
No, we get the I know what you did. I still know what you did. Oh, that's it. We get the I still know what you did on the shower screen.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually like get the pull under the bed thing like we get in the end of the second one. For some reason, I thought this had a similar sort of ending where it was a conclusive Julie's dead, and then they just retcon it in the second for some reason. But no, they don't.
See, I actually like the ending of this. I think Ben Willis deserved a better demise. He deserved something more spectacular. But I do like that final segment. I do like the kind of reveal as to, like, I like the reveal of who he is, like the reveal of, you fucking run me over, like I'm doing this because of what you've done. And I think Ben Willis wants them to confess. That's all he wants. He wants them to confess, say sorry, go tell the police, and he'll leave them alone.
But I think the thing is, you say it like it's because you run me over, but the story is much deeper than that. It's a whole involvement of Susie and the guy who jumped off the cliff at the beginning. It turns out that Ben Willis killed him because he was married to his daughter, who he killed in a fatal car accident. And then he just happened to be stumbling home from murdering that guy. And then he got knocked down, and everything just ties in together in a really neat little bow. And I know people always criticize it for the lack of its horror slasher elements. But if you break it down in terms of its plot and its story, yes, I will 100% say right now that I think it's very difficult to digest on a movie that is so free flowing and so basic in terms of its slasher nature. But there is a lot of levels and elements to this movie that I don't think a lot of people understand. I ask people all the time, and they're like, I have no idea who that guy was who jumped off the cliff at the beginning. Like, that makes no sense. There's like massive plot holes in this movie. I'm like, there's not plot holes in this movie. Everything is interconnected, and it does all make sense and tie back into Ben Willis as a character if you understand it and you pay attention. But the thing is, because of the movie it is, nobody pays attention to it because it is just a 90s slasher that went under the radar. It didn't go under the radar, but it didn't necessarily market itself as the kind of movie that required that much attention from it.
No, it marketed itself as Scream.
I think that's one of this movie's biggest downfalls is the fact that it is a Scream era movie, and Scream did do it better.
Yeah, and like basically every movie, I call it like the era of like floating heads on the poster. You know what I mean? Because like all of those posters from that era just had all of the famous people on the front with just their floating head, and that's it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So any of those just instantly get compared to Scream, right? Visually, like you just see it and you're like, that's a knockoff Scream because the first time you saw it was in Scream.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that I can think of off the top of my head immediately that have that poster within the room that I'm sat in is Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend, Halloween H2O. All four of those have identical covers.
The Faculty.
The Faculty, yes.
Yeah, it was just, that was just a product of the times. Like, yeah, they all done it. And right now, anyone who's watching on YouTube is now seeing a magical poster for the You Run podcast with all of our floating heads on it, because I've just had the idea to create that. So when you're watching this on YouTube, all three of us are there like this now.
Hold on, I'm going to make a serious face for it. You got to smolder, you know? So, I don't know. I look stupid as shit like doing that.
That's fine. That's enough for me to get the shots I need to make that happen. So anyone who's watching this on YouTube 3 weeks after its release, you're welcome. I kind of think, like, movie wise, there's not much more we can really dive into. Of, do you know what? I just want to take a break, and then I want to talk some facts. I want to play a game. Everyone okay with that?
Oh, boy.
Do your shit, man. As long as it's nice about the movie, I don't care.
Okay, well, let's do it.
After this episode, why not check out our resident girl and our resident gay with the Girl and the Gay podcast. This is a podcast where Jay and Bex break down movies of all genres in a funny, entertaining way with lots of interactive features. So go and check out the Girl and the Gay podcast. Also available on the You Run Podcast Network, Video Tastings, a channel hosted by Gareth. This is the world of VHS like never before. From his extensive collection through to live watch-along parties, deep dives into special features and so much more. If you love VHS and retro videos, this is the place for you. So check out Gareth at yourunpodcast.com along with all the other You Run Podcast Network members.
So head over to yourunpodcast.com, go and check all of those guys out. While you are there and you're finding all these new fabulous shows that are part of our network to go and follow and listen to, buy some merchandise, buy some cool t-shirts, because that really helps the show. Like the money we get from those, we put back into the show, we get better equipment and so on. Also, you get to be incredibly stylish and wear a t-shirt that says Colonel Cockring. Like, what more do you need with your life? Like that's all you need. We're going to kick this off with some facts. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt both went on to have big careers in horror. Obviously, Sarah Michelle Gellar went to become Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Jennifer Love Hewitt went to be the Ghost Whisperer. Now, Joss Whedon, when he wrote Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he used this movie as part of his inspiration, because he wrote Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He wrote that character as an antidote to the blonde, dumb, stupid girl. He wrote the complete opposite, and he used this movie to help write the character of Buffy, of this strong, empowered woman, which I thought was really funny, that she played the very thing that he wrote her character to be the opposite of. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Is she quite bimbo-esque in Buffy? I've never watched the TV series.
No. She's bimbo-ish in this, but in Buffy, she starts off very much like, "Hi guys, I love the summer," and she goes from that
Like the
to
Kirsty Swanson in the movie.
kinda, and then come the end, she's like, "Fuck you, vampires, all die."
Yeah, I'm not a big Buffy fan. I remember watching. There was like loads of hype around like that finale where she died and jumps into a portal. I remember watching like that episode and being like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, so it was either last year,
Yeah.
no, it was 2022. I'd never watched the series. I'd watched like season 1 and dipped out. And I went back and I watched every single season. And I fully understand, like, had I caught that at the right time, like, I would have been like, this is the best thing ever. But as a 40-something-year-old man watching that, I'm like, I get it. But it's past me now. So Kevin Williamson wrote this first. He wrote this script and he couldn't sell it. And then he wrote Scream and he sold Scream. And as soon as he'd sold Scream, the production company's like, didn't you have another like slasher like knocking around? And then he gave them this and they instantly marketed this as the next Scream because they assumed it would be better.
So have you just contradicted yourself already then, that saying that this was a knockoff Scream even though this one came first?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, I thought you did.
Imagine if it was the other way around and Wes Craven directed I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then I forget the director of this one. Like, imagine if the roles were reversed. Like, if he did sell I Know.
That's it. Do you think did Scream have the meta elements incorporated into it through Kevin Williams' script, or was that something that he brought over from New Nightmare into Scream?
I don't know. If I'm honest, I think everything Wes Craven touches has an element of something special. And I think had he directed I Know What You Did Last Summer, I think I would probably have a different take on it because he would have gone somewhere else with this. He'd have been like, yeah, that's really cool, but we're going to do this and we're going to shoot this differently. We're going to drop some dialogue here and we're going to put in an extra scare there. Like, I think the director has a lot of responsibility with the movie, regardless of how well it's written.
Whereas this movie has come off the back of Kevin Williamson's success of Scream, therefore the director would have been on the backseat and being like, Kevin Williamson said, whereas the director was like, oh, we're going to change this scene and do this. Kevin Williamson will be like, nah, you stick to the scripts. Do as you're told.
Yeah.
He has that kind of pulling power now after Scream.
Yeah. Whereas if it was Wes Craven would go, look, Kevin, go and sit down. Let me show you how this is done.
Yeah.
Would have been a lot.
Yeah, it definitely would have been. The group go to Dawson's Beach, which is a reference to Dawson's Creek. The movie originally had a different ending. So in the original ending, Julie was invited to a pool party. And then someone's chatting to her and says, I still know what you did last summer. And then the killer jumps out and basically attacks her, leading into the sequel. They filmed that, didn't use it, and then used it as the promotional material for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Which,
even though it didn't have any involvement in the I Know What You Did Last Summer movie.
No, but they used it in the promo. That was a thing in the 90s as well. Do you remember that, where they'd use scenes to promote a movie? Like they'd give you like a teaser trailer and you'd watch the movie and like, none of the stuff in the trailer happened in the movie. Where's all this footage come from?
Yeah, I remember those days.
Really depressing time for Mark is book talk. Welcome to Book Talk on the You Run podcast. So this was adapted from a book. This bears no resemblance to the book other than the fact that there is a car crash in it and it's called I Know What You Did Last Summer. So in the book, the victim is a young boy, and he's on a bike. He's not the captain of the SS Generic. He's just a young boy. It doesn't. So in the book, in this, you get that crash at the beginning, and then it's like a whodunit. In the book, it starts next summer, so you don't get what happened last summer. You don't get the crash.
No.
So as the reader, you're trying to work out what's happening as well. And like I found that really intriguing as a reader. You like they're trying to work it out, and you don't know either. It's very frustrating, and it kind of gives you the urge to like flick forward and find out what's going on. It's actually a really good book.
Is it slasher based in any way? Like I don't think the book has any. No, it's not. Is it?
No. So
that's why when I said to you earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, the book came first. I was kind of hoping you wouldn't then go and read the book.
Yeah, I did. I actually really enjoyed it, and if anyone wants to go and get it, definitely. I picked it up for like £3 on Amazon. It's really, really good. It's aimed at, I'd probably say aimed at older teens. It's that kind of age book, and it's very much a story of doing the right thing. So in the book, it's the brother of the little boy who's tormenting the people who run him over. But he's tormenting them with one goal. He wants them to go to the police and confess. It's psychological warfare, and it reaches the point where they do go and do that. And it's kind of that lesson learning that you've done something wrong. You need to put your hands up and say, I've done something wrong. Really, really good book. And I think had they stuck closer to that, how different would this movie be if you took that initial scene out at the beginning, take that whole car section out, and started with us as an audience going, what's going on? I don't understand what's going on. I would have loved that.
No.
Why not?
I'd like it.
No, because you're just like M. Night Shyamalan in this whole thing, and it doesn't deserve it.
Well, it did go on to spawn 2 sequels. I still know what you did last summer, and I'll always know what you did last summer.
No, it went on to spawn 1 sequel.
Yeah. It also spawned a TV series, which was equally fabulous.
No, it didn't.
And they're currently about to shoot for a 4th movie, bringing back Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Which is a legacy sequel.
Yeah, it's a legacy sequel to 1 and 2. They're only ignoring
which is
3.
where it ends.
How is Sarah Michelle Gellar?
No, she's not. Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Oh, sorry, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Sorry, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah, no, Sarah Michelle Gellar is very, very dead. As
she's going to be a ghost, like Billy Loomis, right? Like in the Scream, she's going to be in the mirror.
I'm not being funny that the new one's probably got some Kevin Williamson involvement in it, so I wouldn't put it past him.
He is. He's writing it, as far as I'm aware.
There we go. Entire ghost cast.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is for me, like 1 and 2 are very much a bookend movie. Like, I know there was a 3rd one that came out, as much as I choose to ignore it. It's ridiculous, and it's an awful, awful movie.
Which one is it that's got Rasta Jack Black? Because I could never remember.
That's part 2. That's part 2. And the thing is as well, like, I love the first movie, and the second one isn't as good. But I find myself watching I Still Know What You Did Last Summer a hell of a lot more than watching the original, because it's that very 90s slasher B-movie-esque kind of thing where you kind of just, there's moments throughout where you just laugh your ass off at how ridiculous some of the stuff is, which kind of amplifies your enjoyment of it. Rasta Jack Black being one of them.
Yeah, that sits up there with Tropic Thunder for things that probably should never have made screen.
I'm a dude playing a dude who's playing another dude. I know what kind of dude I am.
Yeah, it's just bad. Let's play a game. Let's lighten this episode up, because it does seem very much that let's bash on this movie. So this game is called We Know What You Did Last Summer, and it's all catered around episodes that we released June through August 2023.
Now, you know how drunk I get.
Yeah, it's a buzzer game, and they're not just based on like what episode did we release this week. They're questions about the movies that we covered.
Right, okay.
It's a buzzer game. So Alex, you're going to say if you want to buzz in and answer the question, you're going to shout Buffy.
Okay.
Mark, you're going to shout Captain Hook.
Right, okay.
There's 10 questions. Whoever's got the most points at the end is the winner. I will be as fair as I possibly can to Mark, because I know he gets incredibly upset if there's even a hint that I might be cheating.
You always cheating. You're always cheating. You're very unfair in games. Already you've set me off with like 6-syllable words as my buzzer.
Let me pretend I care. Okay,
Just saying,
I'm done.
just throw it out there already. I'm just saying, Buffy, Captain Hook. You know what I mean? In terms of time scales to get through it, it's
okay. I tell you what,
already an advantage.
Alex, you can say Buffy. Mark, you can shout Hooky.
Perfect. That evens the playing field a little bit more.
Perfectly fair now. So, question number 1. In our July 3rd episode, it was agreed which shark movie is better, Jaws or Deep Blue Sea?
Hooky.
Buffy.
Oh, that was Mark just by a whisper.
Jaws. And why have you asked? Why have you put that as a question just to piss me off? Because you know the answer is Jaws, even though I strongly disagree with it.
That is correct. You have 1 point, Mark. Well done. Question number 2. On the 17th of July, Mark was sick and he missed an episode. He didn't show up for the review. I reviewed an episode of Ready or Not. Who guested on that episode?
Buffy.
Go on, Alex.
Oh, man. It was a woman.
It
Am I
was.
right?
Yeah, you are right.
Oh, man.
Females.
Angel?
Oh, so close, so close. I'm going to give you half a point for that. It was Becky from the Girl and the Gay podcast. So Mark's on a point, Alex is on half a point. Question number 3. Which of these movies did we not cover last summer? Halloween 5, The Meg, Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Hooky.
Buffy.
Go on, Mark, that was you.
Halloween 5. We haven't done Halloween 5 yet, have we?
Is that your answer?
Yeah, I don't know. I think so. No. Have we done the Meg? Or did we do the Meg 2? Halloween 5 is my answer. I don't think we've done Halloween 5 on this show yet.
It's correct. We have done Halloween 5, but we covered it on the 11th of September.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a fucking shot in the dark.
2 points for Mark, half a point for Alex. Right, question number 4. Sticking with Halloween, how many Halloween movies did we cover last summer? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Buffy.
Alex?
4.
That is
Do I get a go?
correct. Mark, you can have a guess.
3.
That is also incorrect. Last summer, we covered 1 Halloween movie, and it was Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Great movie. All right.
Yeah.
I love to Rob Zombie if you're listening. I know you are. I know you're a big fan.
When did you do the Gordon Green Revisited episode? I'm getting confused with that.
That was in the summer. Technically, yeah. Alex, you're right. I take it all back. Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. That's wow.
I mean, that's 3 and 1.
Alex?
Yeah, it's 3 and 1. So yeah, Well,
that's why I guessed the high one, because I was like, well, that one's got 3 and 1.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Well done. Wow.
I'll let him off with that then.
Alex actually knows more about the show than I do as well, which is fabulous.
I actually just listened to that one like maybe 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
So am I losing now?
No, Alex is on 1.5. You're on 2. Question number 5. In August, we covered the movie As Above, So Below, which is the
Awesome movie.
Yeah, it's Tomb Raider, but horror version. In what city is it set?
Hooky.
Oh, that was Alex, just by a whisper.
It's in Paris in the catacombs.
I need to listen to the audio back to that. I feel like I got that one first.
Well,
I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm not taking anything away from you, Alex. Fair play. I'm just saying I feel like I was first then.
Beware the hooks.
Question number 6. In June, we covered Creepshow. Who can name one of the stories in that anthology?
Oh, motherfucker.
Did you hear me? Buffy?
Oh, Buffy. Okay, yeah, go on, Alex.
The Crate?
Oh, motherfucker.
Yeah,
The
that's
easiest
correct.
one to get as well.
That is correct. Alex, you're on 3.5.
Rules.
You're on 2. You could have also had Father's Day, The Lonesome Death of Geordie Verrill, Something to Tide You Over. Any one of those.
Something to tide you over. That was the one that I was focusing on and I couldn't get it.
So, as I predicted, Mark is a little bit upset now because he's behind. Question number 7. In June of last year, we covered a serial killer movie with a dancing killer. What movie was it?
Dancing Killer.
Dancing Killer. Hooky?
Go on.
Terrified 2?
That's incorrect. Alex, you can have a guess at it.
Was it Meet Regan?
It wasn't. Unfortunately, it was Silence of the Lambs.
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill.
I thought you had it with Mafregan then as well. I was like, shit, he's got that one.
So Alex on 3.5, Mark's on 2. Question number 8. What shark movie did we cover that stars Steven Seagal?
Hooky.
Oh, that was Alex, just by a whisper.
The Shallows.
That is correct. Mark, you now cannot win. You are playing for pride only. You can bring it to 4.5 to 4, but you need to get the last 2 questions correct. Question number 9. What Italian horror movie did we cover last summer?
Hooky. Demons.
That is correct. Only Italian movie we've ever covered. Final question. And you're going to have to be quick on this, whoever gets this, because I know one of you knows the answer. I done a solo episode in July last year, recapping a horror trilogy. What was it?
Hooky. Halloween.
Mark just got that. It was the Halloween trilogy.
Do you know what? If you hadn't have mentioned it earlier, Alex, I would not have got that.
Alex, you are the winner by 0.5 point. Mark, we will chalk that up to another defeat on quizzes on this show.
No. We won't put that down on the record board.
Well,
Summer break! Woo!
Let's round this movie up. Do you know what? I'm going to take this first because I'm going to have the most negative. Then we're going to let Alex, because Alex is sat on the fence, and then we're going to let Mark tell you how amazing
I have to
it
wait.
is. You do. I hate this movie, and I'll be honest, it's unfounded why I hate this movie. There's no reason for me to hate this movie, but I do. The cast is great. The storyline's good. The practical effects in this are good. It's just fucking dreadful. It's so slow to get going. And then when it does get going, it's a guy in a rain mac. Like, he's one step away from being a flasher. The only difference is he's got a hook and a hat. And I don't know. I just don't buy into this movie at all. And because it came out a year after Scream, like, in my head, these movies always a direct comparison. And Scream curb stomps this into the floor side by side every single time, no matter how you cut it. Scream is the better movie. I don't like this movie. I don't watch this movie. I couldn't get through this movie. It gets a 1 out of 5. And yeah, I score based on enjoyment. Like, it's a 1 out of 5. I hate this movie. It's awful. Alex,
talk about
where are
clinching at
you?
straws. Jesus Christ.
All right. So yeah, I don't hate this movie. I don't love this movie. There's like 55 movies ahead of it that I will reach for instead of this movie. It does what it set out to do, which was make a nice little, summer themed slasher movie type, you know what I mean? But like I said, by the time I had seen it, I had already seen, Jason bash, freaking campers to death in their sleeping bag. You know what I mean? Like, I'd already seen stuff like that. And like when I was a kid watching horror movies, it kind of explains what I do for a living now. I would literally like fast forward my VHS just to see the kills. And with this one, I would fast forward it all the way to when Helen's in the back of the cop car and she gets out of the cop car. And then that's when I would watch. Everything before that, I'm like, okay, I don't, you know what I mean? So I'm just right in the middle on it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to give it like a 2.5 out of 5, which is right smack dab right there in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't hate it this episode. You know what I mean? Like I actually sat down and was like, it's like, this is straight up just Dawson's Creek slasher style. You know what I mean? Perfect encapsulation of 90s horror,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm at on it.
That's the lowball offer. Now you've had the middle offer. Mark, would you like to come in with the highest bid of the evening?
Yes, this is the greatest slasher movie of all time. No, I can't even.
Let me pretend I care.
I can't even justify that. I really can't. But what I will say is that in terms of gateway horror movies, if you're trying to introduce a younger audience into horror movies and you want to start them off slow and give them something steady, this is the perfect movie for that, because this was one of the movies that got me into horror when I was a younger viewer of the genre, and I loved it. I loved the experience I had with it. I loved the fear and the tension that it provided for me as a younger child, without going to those darker elements that most horror movies do. And quite justifiably, this movie should have incorporated within it, especially as an adult watching it back now. It's missing those elements massively. But what I will say is, I think it's very competently directed. I think it's competently edited. I think the score and the soundtrack to it are very fitting of the era, and I think they're all very, very substantial. I think the story itself, in terms of the red herrings and how Ben Willis's story arc comes together, is a really clever and really competent way of tying all these characters together and justifying his purpose for being the revenge killer that he is in this movie. I know you take issue with his overall appearance in terms of him being just in a fucking slacker or whatever they call it in this movie, but it's a fishing town. It's a fishing town. He's a fishing town killer. He's dressed in a fishing town kind of getup. It's appropriate for the location of the movie. I don't need a Freddy Krueger style killer in every single movie I watch. I don't need an iconic Scream mask or an iconic Halloween mask or an iconic Freddy Jason mask every time I watch a horror movie. To have something so grounded in reality, and especially the way that it backs up with the story that's provided for this movie, I find it to be very compensating.
No, you've got it right. Don't correct yourself. You've got it right.
Don't interrupt me on my roundup. I found it to be very much inclusive of what's going on and the way that everything's set up. In terms of the casting and the acting, yes, these are all very, very young actors, first break kind of get up within this movie. Everyone's great. I think Sarah Michelle Gellar's great. I think Jennifer Love Hewitt's great. I think Cruel Intentions dude, whose name has completely lost my mind, even though I've mentioned it about 6 or 7 times in this episode. He was all right. Ryan Felipe, there we go. I thought he was good. He played the jock, asshole type character very, very well, and showed in times of compassion when he needed to, after he lost that persona in terms of the way that he was comforting Hellerton later on in the movie. I feel like he delivered that character very, very well. I just think he was written as an unlikable character. I don't think there was anything to do with his acting at all. The only downside to the acting side of things for me is Freddie Prinze Jr. I think he's very wooden and very fucking Lego-esque character in anything that he does. I really dislike this guy. He's almost on the same level as John Travolta for me in terms of hatred as an actor. I don't know. I don't understand the hate for it. I think it's more based on my own personal enjoyment and nostalgia that I have. And when it came into my life and the memories that I have from viewing it from that first experience, so that every time I watch it again and repeats many years later, 20, 30 years later, I always go back to that initial introduction to horror, because this was my introduction to horror. And I'll always love it for that reason. And I don't ever dislike my reviewing of it. I don't ever watch this movie and try and dissect it and try and pick it apart. I just accept it for what it is and embrace everything that it puts on the screen. It's a 5 out of 5. Fuck you both. Seriously.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Wow, that's the first time ever we've had like all three, like rubbish, middle, which leaves us in a situation we've never been in before. We are completely useless to you today as a review show. So my suggestion would be go and watch I Know What You Did Last Summer and make your own mind up, because we can't agree.
Top, middle, or bottom. You've got a choice.
Alex, over to you. This is your time to tell everyone where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you, what you do. Sell yourself to the world, like sell your soul. This is the time.
Yeah, you can find me at AMPFX Studios on Twitter. I don't say X. And also on Instagram. I basically just use that as like an online portfolio in case anybody just is like, hey, do you have one? I don't really regularly post on there, but it'd be awesome to still get followers. But I also, my ultimate goal is to be a director. I directed an indie feature last year. It's called Elevator Pitches. And that's going to be on YouTube in October. You can go and watch the teaser trailer right now. It's online. Just type in Elevator Pitches teaser trailer.
But if you stop right there, here is the Elevator Pitches teaser trailer.
Also, send me a link to that. I will probably review it for you in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyone watching on YouTube, you got the teaser trailer. Sorry if you're listening on podcast, you didn't. You need to listen to the episode again on YouTube. Sorry, Alex, carry on. We've seen your trailer now. You can consider.
Yeah, jokes aside, I would actually like to get a copy of that. I would definitely try and boost it for you as much as I can.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to it because it's already uploaded and everything. I'm just waiting to hit the live, you know what I mean, in October. I'm treating it like it's a one of those Halloween special type things. You know what I mean? It's only an hour long. It's got 6.5 segments in it. If you watch the teaser trailer, you'll realize why there's only half of a segment. I did that old trick where like I put my teaser trailer is a scene from the movie. So
it's an anthology segment then.
Yeah. So it's called again.
Cool.
It's called
an anthology.
Yeah, and it's about a janitor who works in a movie studio. And every now and then he rides in the elevator with the producer that works there. And so he pitches her horror movies, different horror movie ideas.
That's clever, man.
Yeah, it took me years to think of that. You know what I mean? At first because I wrote all these short films over a decade ago. And I had them in script form and everything. And I just didn't have any way to put them all together because I was just like, how do I do this wraparound, right? And my first idea was very much Are You Afraid of the Dark style, where it's just a bunch of kids sitting around talking. But then I was like, no, that's been done 75 times.
Yeah.
And being in the film industry, right, we all hear that, give me the elevator pitch. So I was just like, these are perfect because they're only the longest one is 10 minutes long. The shortest one is like 3 minutes long. So
that's really clever, because I watch a lot of anthology horror movies as a horror movie viewer, and I do find that if the wraparound isn't as strong as the segments itself, the whole thing tends to fall apart. So I like your approach with what you've taken there. I mean, I haven't seen it, obviously, but I think the idea behind it is a really solid execution.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh man, I was super lucky too. I worked with Victor Rivera. He's the guy who played Bo, our janitor, and we did an aging makeup on him. I didn't do any of the makeup across this movie. I just wore my director hat, and I let all my friends do the makeup. That amazing work.
Difficult.
Honestly, it was very easy. I walked into the room while they were doing makeup one day, and Alex, who's another friend of mine, we work together a lot. And he looks at me and he's like, "You want to jump in on this?" And I was like, "Hell no."
No.
Like,
see, I'm one of those people who likes full creative control. So if I was doing that, knowing my expertise or knowing your expertise per se, I would have had to be like, "No, that's not quite right," or "No, you need to do this like this."
See, I subscribe to that. I surround myself with people that are better than me at what I do because it makes me look better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
100%.
Yeah, so it was super easy to take a backseat to that and just watch them do their thing. But yeah,
going back along with Scott.
Going back to Victor Rivera, amazing actor. He's a method actor, so he was acting like an old man for 2 weeks before we even shot a single shot. He came in as old men do, you know what I mean? Just was and it was literally, we addressed him as Bo the whole day. And then when we were done and his last shot was shot, he just dropped the character. It's still in makeup. And some of the crew were like, "Oh, holy shit, this is this guy's real voice now." You know what I mean?
That's cool.
But yeah, look up.
Yeah, I definitely would love to get a copy of that, man. If you've got the time to send it over to me, I would love to watch.
Yeah,
it.
dude, I'll send you the link for sure.
Okay. When it drops, me and you have already had this conversation anyway. But once the movie is out, get me the link. I'll share it. We'll do whatever we can. Obviously, we played the teaser trailer on this, and I'll do anything I can to help you, because like what you do. Like if your movie is directed half as good as you do makeup effects, this movie's going to be fucking awesome. So I'm fully behind it. You got my full support.
Thank you. I'll send you some screenshots from it as well, so you can edit in there as well.
Yeah, please. Like any screenshots, they'll be on the screen now. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, not that I'm trying to push our YouTube at the moment, but go to our YouTube, and if you're listening to this now, in 3 weeks' time, go back and watch it on YouTube, and it'll be a completely different episode. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, I am the George Lucas of podcasting. I'm remastering everything I do so I don't have to make new content. Like that's where I am.
Just make sure to put a couple little dewbacks in the background, walking around, some dewbacks.
Yeah. A huge thank you, Alex, for coming on the show. It's been great having you here. I'm stoked to see your movie. And yeah, thank you for sitting in that middle ground between me and Mark, because without you here, this would have been an argument.
It would have been war. It would have been a full-on war.
This is
I'll bet you're probably sitting there like, yes, one that they hate. And then there's going to be me in the middle. And be like, who the fuck this guy?
We are going to be back next week. I'm not going to tell you why we're back next week or what we're covering next week. I'm just going to play you this clip. Oh! That is all you need to know about next week, because that is pretty much the entire episode is that. But until then, huge thank you to Alex. Thank you to Mark, who's here every week. We love Mark. We like Mark a lot. Mark, you loved this movie. And to be quite honest with you,
let me pretend I care.
So don't be that guy.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. And we will catch you all next week if you've got the stomach to join us.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
See you later.
You want to die tonight?
Jokes enough. You make me believe in Marc's overblown roundups. You run podcasts or a movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after I fled. You run podcasts, horror movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after I